Have you ever canceled plans and felt relief? Not guilt, not regret. Relief. It's Friday night. Your phone lights up. We're all going out. You coming? You stare at the message. You imagine loud music, small talk, traffic, getting dressed, spending money. Then you look around your room. Soft lighting. Your favorite hoodie. A show you've been meaning to finish. Maybe a book waiting on your nightstand. And suddenly, staying home feels like winning the lottery. But here's the thing. Somewhere in the back of your mind, there's that little voice. Am I boring? Am I becoming antisocial? Is something wrong with me? We live in a world that worships busyness. Out there is seen as exciting. In here is often labeled lazy, introverted, or even lonely. But psychology tells a very different story. Let me show you what's really going on in the minds of people who genuinely love staying at home. First, we need to clear something up. Loving home isn't the same as hating people. In fact, many home lovers deeply value relationships. They just value them differently. Instead of constant social stimulation, they prefer meaningful interaction. Depth over volume. One close friend on the couch over 10 acquaintances in a noisy bar. Research on personality, especially introversion and extroversion, gives us a clue. Extroverts tend to have brains that are more responsive to dopamine from external stimulation. Crowds, novelty movement, those environments light them up. Introverts, on the other hand, can get overstimulated more easily. Their nervous systems are more sensitive to external input. Imagine two phones. One has a big battery and thrives on multiple apps running at once. The other is powerful, but drains faster when too many tabs are open. It's not weaker, it's just wired differently. For many people who love staying home, their brain simply says, finally, when the noise fades. And that isn't laziness, it's regulation. Home is predictable, it's controllable, it's safe. Psychologically, humans crave a sense of control. The outside world is full of uncertainty. Traffic, weather, social dynamics, expectations. At home, you control the lighting, the temperature, the soundtrack of your evening. You choose when to talk and when to be silent. That sense of control reduces stress hormones like cortisol. Your nervous system shifts from fight or flight to rest and digest. Your body literally relaxes. For some people, home isn't just a place, it's a nervous system sanctuary. And here's something even more interesting. People who love staying home often have rich inner worlds. When you remove constant external input, something else grows louder, your thoughts. Some people are uncomfortable with that. Silence makes them restless. They need distraction. But others, they thrive in it. They think deeply. They imagine. They create. They reflect. Studies on solitude show that time alone can increase creativity, emotional processing, and problem solving. Virginia Woolf once said a person needs a room of one's own, not because people are bad, but because space allows the self to expand. Home becomes a laboratory for the mind. Have you ever noticed how some of your best ideas come when you're alone? In the shower. On a quiet Sunday, sitting with a cup of tea, that's not accidental. When your brain isn't busy scanning faces and managing conversations, it has more bandwidth for introspection. The default mode network in your brain becomes active. That's the system involved in self-reflection, memory, and imagination. In other words, staying home can actually deepen your relationship with yourself. And let's talk about emotional energy. Some people treat social energy like a rechargeable battery. They go out, plug into people, and feel charged up. Others treat it like a debit card. Every interaction withdraws a little bit. Neither is wrong. They're just different operating systems. If you're someone who loves staying home, chances are you're very aware of your energy levels. You know that after a long week of meetings, errands, and obligations, what you need isn't more stimulation. It's restoration. There's also something subtle happening. Identity safety. Out in the world you perform, even a little. You adjust your tone, your facial expressions, your reactions. You follow social scripts. At home, the mask drops. You can sit in silence without explaining yourself. You can wear the same hoodie 3 days in a row. You can eat cereal for dinner. There's psychological freedom in that. For many home lovers, staying in isn't about avoiding life. It's about returning to authenticity. But here's where it gets deeper. Sometimes loving home is also tied to attachment patterns. If someone grew up in chaos, unpredictable environments, emotional instability, creating a calm home as an adult becomes profoundly meaningful. It's not just preference, it's healing. The home becomes the opposite of what once felt unsafe. Lighting candles, cleaning the kitchen, organizing shelves. These aren't just chores, they're rituals of control and comfort. It's building the peace you once needed. And we can't ignore modern culture. We are overstimulated, constant notifications, news cycles, social comparison on social media, crowded cities, loud spaces. Choosing home can be a quiet rebellion. It's saying, I don't need to be constantly visible to exist. I don't need to be out to be alive. Think about it. In many cultures throughout history, thinkers, writers, philosophers, many of them loved solitude. not because they feared society, but because they valued reflection. Even now, remote work, streaming platforms, food delivery, our world has quietly adapted to the homebody lifestyle. The stigma is slowly fading. But let's be honest, sometimes loving home can cross into avoidance. And this is important. There's a difference between choosing home and hiding in it. If staying home feels peaceful and intentional, that's one thing. If it feels anxious and fear-driven, avoiding judgment, conflict, or growth, that's another. Psychology always asks, what's the motivation? Are you resting or are you retreating? Growth sometimes requires stepping outside. Not every invitation should be declined. Not every discomfort is dangerous. The healthiest home lovers know this balance. They treat home as a base camp, not a permanent bunker. They go out when it matters. They connect when it's meaningful. And then they return, like a deep sea diver coming up for air. There's also something powerful about contentment. People who genuinely love staying home often have lower sensation-seeking traits. They don't constantly crave novelty. They can find joy in repetition, in small rituals, morning coffee, rearranging furniture, rewatching a favorite show. In a world obsessed with more, they are okay with enough. That's not boring, that's grounded. And here's a philosophical twist. Maybe loving home is really about loving presence. When you're home, you're not chasing the next thing as much. You're sitting with what is. The quiet hum of your fridge, the softness of your couch, the comfort of familiar walls. There's a mindfulness hidden in that. You're not performing happiness, you're inhabiting it. But if you've ever felt misunderstood for it, I see you. Maybe friends tease you. You never go out. Maybe family worries. You need to socialize more. Maybe you scroll through pictures of parties and wonder if you're missing something. Here's the truth. Missing out on one experience always means choosing another. When you stay home, you're choosing depth, restoration, reflection, or simple peace. That has value. The key is awareness. Ask yourself gently, does staying home nourish me or numb me? If it nourishes you, lean into it without shame. Create a space that reflects who you are. Make it warm, make it yours, let it be your sanctuary. If it numbs you, if you're hiding from fear, then maybe take one small step outside your comfort zone. Not because society says so, but because growth feels good in the long run. Psychology isn't about labeling yourself as introvert, extrovert, homebody, or social butterfly. It's about understanding your wiring and honoring it wisely. So if tonight you choose the couch over the crowd, the book over the bar, the quiet over the chaos, maybe it's not because you're boring. Maybe it's because your nervous system knows exactly what it needs. Maybe your mind is richer than the room you'd be sitting in. Maybe your home isn't a limitation. Maybe it's your foundation. And here's something to reflect on before we end. If the world stopped glorifying constant movement, if nobody posted their weekend highlights, if there were no expectations to be seen, where would you genuinely want to be? Out there or right where you are? Let me know in the comments. Are you someone who feels recharged by staying home, or are you energized by going out? There's no right answer, just different designs. And if this helped you understand yourself a little better, stick around. There's so much more about your mind we haven't explored yet.